Howdy everybody, and welcome back to our Legacy of the Wizard aRPG tutorial. So last time I said that we were going to be finished with states for now, and that we are going to move on to shops and item usage. So in order to use items, first things first, you got to be able to pause the game. So let's get cracking on that. Now, I should quickly mention that I have added into the information section of this video and to the first couple of videos in this series a download link where you can download all of the sprites and all of the sounds that I used in this project, so you can easily access them if you want to build your own project file rather than using the .yy P or Z, whichever one it is that I included that was apparently bugged. And yeah, I'm kind of embarrassed about that bug there. So anyways, let's get on to pausing our project here. So let's first create an object. Object_pause. And in that object we are going to need to add a few events, such as our create event and our destroy event, a cleanup event, a step event, and a draw GUI, but more specifically draw GUI begin. So just like how step has the begin step, step, end step, drawing also has draw begin, draw end, and same for the draw GUI. So we're going to do it on the begin because we want this to show up underneath our header elements, our GUI elements, I guess. Our stat bar, that's the word I was looking for, stat bar, because we don't want it to be drawn over by what we're going to be doing here. So in the create event, I'm going to add a few variables to get ourselves started. We need to get our GUI width, our GUI height, our screen, which is going to be a new surface that we create. So you remember back in the earlier, I was talking when we were doing the display manager, I talked about the application surface, and that's everything that is being drawn onto the screen in a given moment. And that's done with a surface. So I can create a surface on demand here. So screen is surface create using these widths that we got, because I want it to fit over the GUI. And then we're going to have shot captured here as false, because we are going to be creating a screen capture, and then when we pause the game, we'll overlay everything with the screen capture that we made, because when we pause, everything that's an object becomes invisible because it's no longer drawing onto the screen. So we can then just instead capture a view of everything and put it onto the screen. Then called manually, because there's things like death and picking up an item where we don't want to make a pause sound even though we actually use an item there, or we die and it pauses the game when you die as well. Then audio group stop all effects, because when we pause we want to stop all sound effects, so stuff like the player shooting their magic, or when you pick up items and stuff. Then pause, false, break pause, false, and type equals 0. And these are basically state variables, and I could have named them better probably. There's two types of pausing we'll be doing. There'll be the full pause, where everything in the game pauses, including the music. Then there's the soft pause, which is the break pause rather than the pause. And soft pausing is where you just stop things so that you can select inventory items and then start up again. So let's move on from here. In our destroy event, we are going to need to do a couple things. We are going to want to revert all of our pausing stuff. So instance activate all, and the instance deactivate all will be done somewhere else. So we'll do that over when I get to that part. And if pause paused, audio resume all. And if called manually, audio underscore play underscore sound pause, because it plays a pause sound when you start the pause, and it plays a pause sound when you end the pause as well. So we got to have that in there as well. Then we go over to the cleanup event, and we need to clean up that surface that we made. We don't want it laying around in our memory. So surface underscore free screen underscore. All right, let me go over here. Next up for the step event. So here we're going to have a bit of a primitive state function where if break underscore paused, switch type underscore, and in this case we have case 0. If it's a 0 type pause, then if audio is playing sound underscore chest underscore open. If it hasn't, then kill me. So when we collide with a chest object later on, then what will happen is it'll play a noise when we do that, and once that noise stops playing, it will restart the game. So instance destroy. Then we also have 1. If object stats.magic greater than equal to 99, instance underscore destroy. This comes from when we use a magic restore object, or when we get a magic restore item on the ground that gives us all of our magic back, then we are able to destroy the pause event once that is finished, giving us back all of our mana as well. And last but not least, deactivate me if object underscore input dot select underscore pressed, or object input dot start underscore pressed. Instance destroy. So if we have manually called an exit, then get rid of this thing. So I think that leaves just the GUI left. I'm trying to think here. So back over in the story event, I said instance activate all. When do I deactivate the instances? Let me check that real quick. Control Shift F, deactivate. Oh, I do it in the GUI, in the draw GUI, where I was going to next. All right, so what do we do here next? So we're going to use a sort of neutered version of my super complex screenshot and room transition effect generator, where instead we just pause the screen and then draw the screenshot that we create to the surface that we created earlier. So we're going to need to do 2 different things here, and this is going to be kind of heavy in a lot of functions that are very different. So if not shot underscore captured, remember that variable that we created earlier that's false. So this is what we are going to do if we haven't captured the screenshot yet. But if we have, then draw underscore surface screen underscore at position 0, 0. So if we haven't captured the screenshot yet, do a bunch of stuff. Otherwise, draw the screenshot to the GUI at position 0, 0, and I should cover the entire GUI. So here, let's get into the heart and the meat and potatoes of this. So GPU underscore set underscore blend mode underscore ext bm underscore 1 bm underscore 0. Now, I don't understand everything about blend modes, but I was assured that this helps make sure that you capture everything pixel perfectly when you make a screenshot. So you set up the blend mode so that it'll show everything properly. So surface underscore set underscore target screen underscore, because we need to make sure that we have set our target to be that new surface that we created. Then draw underscore surface underscore stretched, and we want to draw the application underscore surface. So everything that's visible on the screen, GUI underscore width, GUI underscore height. So we want to draw everything that's available on screen, and our screen, remember back in our room here, well, in our view, in our what we set up in our display manager over here. Yeah, so our ideal and ideal height. Our view is 256 by 224. So we need to make sure that we draw whatever we captured on our 256 by 224 view to the same size that the GUI is. So if the GUI was 90 by 90, then this function shrinks it down to 90 by 90 so that it'll draw properly. Then surface underscore reset underscore target. So we now have this screen underscore surface that has the screenshot that we want attached to it, drawn onto it now. Then GPU underscore set underscore blend mode again, BM underscore normal. And that just resets our blend mode back to the normal. And draw underscore surface screen underscore 00. This is exactly the same thing as right here. We're just doing it right here because we are not going to be doing this part because we are in the shot captured portion. Now what we need to do next is set our shot underscore captured variable equal to true because we have captured our screen. Now here comes the deactivation portion. So instance, and this is the reason why we have it right here, is because we want to deactivate everything after we capture the screenshot. Because if we deactivate it all before we get the screenshot, then we'll sit there for 10 minutes wondering why in the world isn't anything drawing. I know I'm capturing the screenshot. Why in the world isn't my code working properly? And then you'll do a face palm, and it's not very fun. Underscore all. So deactivating all, that deactivates every single object, so all of these objects will stop functioning. And we set true because we want it to be not me. We don't want to deactivate the pause object. Then underscore activate underscore object, and we need to reactivate a couple of objects here. So stats. And then we do a couple more. So our stat bar and input, because we're going to need all these things during the pause event. And your game needs other objects to be running to be able to run properly, then you would just reactivate whatever object you need at this point. And it's kind of tedious, but I should probably just write a script for this that just takes whatever you give into it and reactivates that object. That'd probably be useful. If pause underscore paused underscore and not break underscore paused, then audio underscore pause underscore all. So back in our create, we stopped effects, but we didn't stop the sound because if we wanted to, because during a normal item select pause, the music continues to play. But in this case, if we actually want the pause, which is the full pause effect, then we would pause the sound as well. And you should make sure that you do this in most games, actually, because from my research and understanding, a lot of people don't like it when there's music playing while you pause, because they want to pause and be completely silent as if it's not playing at all, like if they wanted to hide that they're playing the game or something. I don't know, but that's apparently why people like that. So anyways, that's everything you need in there. So let's go back to our object player, because we are going to need to be able to activate this pause effect. So let's get to the player here and see if I can get the code. Come back to our begin step and add in a bunch of code here. I'm going to copy and paste to save time and put it right after you get the input, because we're going to need to check our input first thing for a pause right after we get input. If pause underscore input, turn this off. So we have the pause input, which is the pause, the hard pause, and inventory underscore input, which would be our soft pause. So object input dot start underscore pressed equals false, because if we don't do that, then it will still read as true, and then when the pause object is created, it will think that, oh, the pause object, that they press pause and I need to kill myself immediately. And then you'll end up like me again, sitting there for a couple of minutes trying to figure out why in the world it's not pausing when you press pause. Alright, so then var underscore pause is equal to instance create object pause, audio underscore play sound pause. This has to go after creating the pause object, or it will stop the pause sound from playing because it turns off all effects when created, of course. Then underscore pause dot pause, paused is equal to true. And if inventory underscore input underscore, then again, make sure our select pressed is false, because we don't want to kill ourselves again instantly. And again, create a pause object, and I didn't really need to set anything else up for this at this point, so just play the pause sound. Let's go back over here to our overworld real quick, and come over to you and put you on the ground, because I actually want you right there in front of the door, because that's where you belong. Let's give this a try, see if it works. Alright. There we go. See? Everything pauses. Keep going. Alright, now let's try the select pause, the soft pause. I don't know if this will work completely yet either, because I haven't added in the item usage yet, but we'll see. Then, yeah, it's not doing anything yet because I haven't added in the controls that appear during the pause event yet. We'll do that next time when we add in the actual item usage. Alright everybody, thank you very much for following along, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. So good luck with your coding.